Imagine a voice that 2,500 years ago sang so sweetly of love, desire, and longing that she was hailed as the 10th Muse. A poet whose words were so powerful, so intimate, that Plato himself placed her among the wisest. Now, imagine that nearly all of her work has vanished, lost to the sands of time, leaving us with only tantalizing fragments. This is the story of Sappho of Lesbos, the forgotten poet who shaped ancient Greece. Welcome, history lovers and poetry enthusiasts. Today, we're journeying back to the 7th century BC to the sun-drenched island of Lesbos in the Aegean Sea. This was Sappho's world, a vibrant hub of culture and trade, a place where art and music flourished. But while names like Homer, Socrates, and Aristotle echo through our history books, Sappho's name often remains in the shadows. Why? To understand her legacy, we must first understand the woman behind the fragments. Born around 630 BC into an aristocratic family, Sappho lived a life that was highly unusual for a woman of her time. In an era when most Greek women were confined to the domestic sphere, Sappho was a public figure, a celebrated poet, and the leader of a thyasos, a circle of young women dedicated to the cult of Aphrodite and the Muses. Here, she taught them music, dance, and poetry, preparing them for marriage, but also cultivating their artistic and intellectual lives. Her poetry was revolutionary. Unlike the epic tales of gods and warriors told by men like Homer, Sappho turned her gaze inward. She wrote lyric poetry, meant to be sung to the accompaniment of a lyre. Her subjects were deeply personal. The bittersweet pain of love, the beauty of nature, the bonds of female friendship, and the ache of separation. She wrote with a raw, unfiltered honesty that was unheard of. She captured the universal human experience in a way that feels startlingly modern, even today. Let's look at one of her most famous surviving fragments, often called Fragment 31. In it, she describes the intense physical reaction she has watching the woman she loves talking to a man. She writes, "He seems to me equal to the gods, that man who sits opposite you and listens close to your sweet speaking and lovely laughing." She then describes her own symptoms. Her tongue is broken. A thin flame runs under her skin. Her eyes see nothing. Her ears roar. Sweat pours down, and she is paler than grass. It's a breathtakingly vivid depiction of jealousy and desire, a feeling we can all recognize. This wasn't a story about a distant hero. This was the heartbeat of a real person, laid bare for all to see. Her fame during her lifetime was immense. Coins were minted with her image, and statues were erected in her honor. Her songs were sung across the Greek world, from grand symposiums to intimate gatherings. The Greeks didn't just admire her, they revered her. So what happened? How did the 10th Muse become a ghost in our history? The story of Sappho's lost work is a tragedy of epic proportions. She is said to have written 9 volumes of poetry, a massive collection. Today, we have only one complete poem, Ode to Aphrodite, and hundreds of fragments. Some are a few stanzas, some just a single, heartbreaking word. The destruction of her work wasn't a single event, but a slow decay over centuries. As the world changed, so did tastes. The Aeolic Greek dialect she wrote in became less common. Then came the rise of new belief systems. Her frank and passionate descriptions of love, particularly between women, were viewed as scandalous by later, more conservative societies. While there's no definitive proof of a large-scale, deliberate burning of her books, It's clear that her work was not preserved with the same care as that of male authors. Her scrolls were left to crumble, her words allowed to fade. For centuries, all we had were quotes in the works of other ancient writers who had admired her. It wasn't until the late 19th and early 20th centuries that a miracle happened. Archaeologists excavating ancient rubbish heaps in Oxyrhynchus, Egypt, began to find scraps of papyrus. Among the discarded shopping lists and legal documents were fragments of Sappho's poetry. These weren't beautiful scrolls from a grand library. They were wrappings for mummies, stuffing for sacred crocodiles, and literal trash preserved by the dry Egyptian climate. It was like finding lost pages from Shakespeare in a landfill. Each new fragment, no matter how small, was a window back into her world. Imagine the excitement of scholars piecing together these literary jigsaw puzzles, hearing Sappho's voice speak again after 2 millennia of near silence. And that voice continues to challenge and inspire us. Sappho's legacy is complex. Her name is the root of the words sapphic and lesbian, forever linking her to female love. While scholars debate the exact nature of the relationships within her circle, it's undeniable that her poetry is a cornerstone of queer history, offering a rare and precious glimpse into same-sex love in the ancient world. She gave a voice to feelings that have been silenced for much of human history. But to limit her to just one aspect of her identity is to do her a disservice. She was a master of her craft, an innovator whose influence can be seen in poets from Catullus in ancient Rome to the Romantics and Modernists. She pioneered a form of intimate, personal expression that is the foundation of much of the poetry, and even the song lyrics, we love today. Every time a songwriter sings about their own heartbreak or joy, they are walking in Sappho's footsteps. Her influence extends beyond poetry. She reminds us that history is not a monolithic story written by powerful men. It is filled with vibrant, diverse voices, many of which we have lost. The story of Sappho is a powerful lesson in what can be lost when we don't preserve women as stories. It forces us to ask, how many other 10th muses have been forgotten? How many brilliant artists, thinkers, and leaders have been erased from our collective memory simply because society didn't value their contributions? Sappho's story is ultimately one of resilience. Despite the decay of papyrus, the changing of tastes, and the prejudice of later ages, her voice refuses to be completely silenced. It reaches us in whispers and echoes, in fragments that hold more power than many complete works. She teaches us to listen closely to the past, to search for the voices in the margins, and to cherish the fragments we have. Her poetry, even in its broken state, is a testament to the enduring power of love, beauty, and art to transcend time. So the next time you hear a love song that touches your soul, or read a poem that perfectly captures a fleeting emotion, take a moment to remember the woman from Lesbos, the 10th muse, the poet who, against all odds, still sings to us from across the ages, proving that a single, beautiful word can be enough to change the world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed learning about Sappho, please give this video a like and subscribe for more stories about the hidden figures of history. Let me know in the comments which forgotten artist you think we should talk about next. Until then, keep seeking the stories that have been left untold.